Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My straightforward amendment would prohibit any effort to redirect funds allocated under the Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act, also referred to as GO-MESA. GO-MESA was passed in 2006 and created a revenue-sharing agreement for offshore oil revenue between the federal government and 4 states in the Gulf of Mexico: Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the state of Alabama. Under GO-MESA, 37.5% of the revenues generated from selected oil and gas lease sales in the outer continental shelf of the Gulf of Mexico is returned to these Gulf states. There's a reason the law was structured this way. These Gulf states not only provide the lion's share of the infrastructure and workforce for the industry in the Gulf of Mexico, we also have inherent environmental and economic risks. The BP oil spill 5 years ago should tell us all what that means. Unfortunately, in his budget proposal this year, President Obama has recommended that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management under the Department of Interior redirect the distribution of expanded revenue payments expected to start in 2018 for the Gulf of Mexico oil and gas leases away from the Gulf Coast and instead be spent all around the country. Not only does this proposal directly contradict the current federal statute, it vastly undermines the purpose of the law to keep revenues from these lease sales in the states that supply the workforce and have the inherent risk of potential environmental and economic disaster. My amendment today is simple: to protect the clearly defined statute and prevent the President from using these revenue-sharing agreements as a slush fund for politically driven environmental projects across the country. Regardless of whether you are from a Gulf Coast state or not, I would urge my colleagues to vote in favor of this important amendment to protect the rule of law and support our coastal communities. And I yield to the chairman.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I would urge adoption of the gentleman's amendment.
I reserve the balance.
Is recognized.
I wish that these sorts of amendments were unnecessary, but the way this administration plays fast and loose with its interpretation of the law, particularly through these administrative agencies, I'm afraid it is necessary. To protect a law passed by this Congress in 2006 in recognition of the inherent risk that these 4 Gulf states that produce so much energy for this country have. And without it, we will have an agency that will take the law as it exists, even this appropriations bill, and interpret it the way they want to. And this amendment makes it very clear they can't do that, that these 4 coastal states will retain control over these monies as it was enacted by this Congress in 2006. So I respect the gentlelady's point of view. I wish it were unnecessary. But given the behavior of this administration through these administrative agencies, I'm afraid it is necessary. And I ask for the members to support this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Alabama. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.